lines of the alive, tracing the movements of innumerable births and deaths, crossing and weaving, never ever identical, yet always repeating.
I faced them with what was an aesthetic question. How are you related to this creature? What pattern connects you to it? What pattern connects the crab to the lobster, and the orchid to the primrose, and all four of them to me, and me to you?
Lines of symmetry, 3 times repeated, twice in blurring wing, erupting into pattern after pattern, transforming into speed, into pure, unrepeatable movement, stopping, seeming to stop, bulging into color, a million lines of color, a million lines never precisely repeating, a pattern which connects.
The anatomy of a crab is repetitive and rhythmical. It's like music, repetitive with modulation. Indeed, the direction from head toward tail corresponds to a sequence in time. In embryology, the head is older than the tail. A flow of information is possible from front to rear. A Bach sonata, a Willie Nelson tune, a grandmother's nursery rhyme, the shell of a crustacean, the shell of a walnut, the love of a parent, the play of a child, and on, the pattern which connects. The appendages of the crab are not a quantity, but essentially a pattern. Songs and machines, from here to there, over time joining joints and connections, enabling movements of the alive, enabling the very possibility of the song. The right way to think about the pattern which connects is to think of it as primarily a dance of interacting parts, and only secondarily pegged down by various sorts of physical limits, and by those limits which organisms characteristically impose. The dance occurs upon lines, lines of flight, the pumping of a heron's wings, lines in the air, lines in the body, lines upon the water, lines which connect location to location with movements of fear, annoyance, hunger, passion, boredom. Again, lines of flight, lines which weave together, creating narrative, many narratives. The body of a dragonfly, segmentary stories, numerous lines of light emerging within compound eyes, yarns of conception, sagas of life as an underwater terror, fables which sequence down bodies as chapters in an ancient book. Lines of flight again, fleeing the musty earth, reaching as far as genetically possible toward the light in the trees above. A dance away from and a dance toward. Precise divisions, mathematically innocent. Progressive arrangements, multiplying, organizing, creating near-perfect relations, moving through time. By aesthetic, I mean responsive to the pattern which connects. Aesthetic, not simply to do with the recognition of art, but aesthetic as a way of living in the middle of uncountable lines of relation, a way of living always in response to the movements of the alive. Evolution and revolution and religion should go together. Damn the separation, those partitions that keep differing kinds disconnected, apart, afraid, those walls which ensure that loves can never meet. For in the realms of the alive, the different ones find themselves moving upon the very same lines. Most of us have lost that sense of unity of biosphere and humanity, which would bind and reassure us all with an affirmation of beauty. Most of us do not today believe that whatever the ups and downs of detail within our limited experience, the larger whole is primarily beautiful. It ripples upon our surfaces. It weaves on through our creations. It breathes within our imperfections. It sprouts upon our barren lines. It brings color to our boredom. It warms within our hands. It emerges beyond our walls. It penetrates through every window. It rests upon our endless beachheads. I think it important here to notice how often enlightenment is a sudden realization of the biological nature of the world in which we live. It is a sudden discovery of life. Enfolding, adoring, wonderment, that incessant pull of relation. Differing, shifting, fat, full, crimson. Delicate, connecting, shading, enlightening, crafting. Entertaining, exploring, showing off, seeing the world through blue-colored glasses. A million lights. Some things are deep within, verdant expectations. Companions. We worked yesterday, we look after each other today. It's been years, moving lines, floating memories, a certain symmetry. Preparations, lines of flight, a shitty mess, the elegance of a swallow. The pattern which connects is a meta-pattern. It is a pattern of patterns. We seem to think of ourselves as separate from the thistle, removed from the patterns of a feather. Yet why might the lines of our own creations and the lines of birds and flowers and insects be considered of seceded realms? Do they not come from the same evolutionary histories? For our lines of body and our lines of creation, our lines of relation, our lines of ancestry, they have traveled together upon the same territories. They are inescapably entwined within the same knots. I can know nothing about any individual thing by itself. I can know something about relations between things. For Bateson, it was all about relationship. The very alive of life was never, ever singular. It always emerged between bodies, between species, between generations, between spirits, between thoughts, between loves. And it was there, in between, in that space of relationship, where evolution and all of life is found stirring. We need not be put off by the fact that the reasonings of the heart are accompanied by sensations of joy or grief. These computations are concerned with matters which are vital to mammals, namely matters of relationship, by which I mean love, hate, respect, dependency, spectatorship, performance, dominance, and so on. These are central to the life of any mammal, and I see no objection to calling these computations thought.
Hearts and skin, eyes and lips, holding the other close. We stay close, very close. For it's the warmth of bodies. That's how we survive. That's how we thrive. It's how we have always gotten by. We just stay close, very close.
I surrender to the belief that my knowing is a small part of a wider integrated knowing that knits the entire biosphere or creation.